All right. Thank you all for being here today. Let me just get my situated here and we'll get started. All right. As LGBTQ plus founders, most of you have probably learned how to navigate spaces that weren't built with you in mind. As Dr. Baker mentioned, touched on that quite a bit this morning, right? So you learned how to adapt, you learned how to read rooms, and how to self-advocate, how to build chosen families and chosen communities like this one that we have here today, which is wonderful. Those skills don't disappear when you become entrepreneurs. My name is Kelly Lucas, and like Elizabeth said, we co-founded Lunar Lab, which is a UX design and product strategy company here at the Depot. And I spend my days with founders turning their ideas into sustainable business, and I want to tell you all about how to do that today. So a quick question, and you don't have to raise your hand, but would love if you would. How many of you have ever thought, am I doing this right? Am I missing something? Why does this feel harder than it should? And if any of that resonates, I want to show you how to use your perspective combined with design to build something powerful. But before we get into tools and frameworks, I really want to explain why I care a lot about this topic. So over the years, I've worked with dozens and dozens of founders, many of them very brilliant with excellent ideas, and they didn't fail because they weren't smart enough. They failed because they built something before they had clarity, which happens quite a bit. And for founders like you, that lack of clarity is even more expensive, right? So when you don't have endless runway, you don't have easy access to capital, you don't get 5 chances to figure it out, daddy's not gonna swoop in with $1 million and say, here you go, let's try a different business. But design is gonna give you a way to really slow down and make just enough better decisions to make your business better without slowing you down. So what's the reality? Like I said, for founders like you, there are fewer resources, less room for mistakes, which means that you have to be really intentional. And design is a way to help reduce that risk and build your credibility faster. So many founders like you have told me the exact same story over and over. I didn't grow up around business owners. I don't have a family who is an investor. I don't have someone who's going to introduce me to the right people. And like I said, you may not have a rich dad with $1 million. I do not. That does not mean you cannot succeed. But by understanding and acknowledging all of these constraints, like I said, like Dr. Baker mentioned this morning as well, you can design paths around them and still find ways to find success in spite of them. But it just means that your product, your website, your pitch, all of those have to work harder for you. And design makes sure that they do. So when I say design, I'm not talking about colors, I'm not talking about fonts or the shape of the buttons or layout on the screen. I'm not talking about any of that today. I'm talking about how you decide what to build, how to communicate, how you're going to earn trust. And design is a huge differentiator for your business. Design is going to help you make better decisions. It's not decoration, it is not aesthetics, it is not making it go pop, which is my least favorite phrase in all of design. I hear some designers. Design is alignment and clarity and strategy and intention. So that's what we're going to talk about today. One way is through trust. So trust is currency, trust is growth. Not having trust means you're not making sales. Not having trust means you're not getting funding. Not having trust means you're not getting referrals from other people. People have to trust you, right? So every single thing in business runs on trust. Your product, your website, your messaging, all of those are doing that trust building work for you 24/7 if you're not sitting down in front of somebody. So just because, like I said, there are some systemic disadvantages to being an LGBTQ plus founder, it doesn't mean that there aren't advantages as well. We talked about resiliency, innovation, right? So some other ones that come to mind, empathy, adaptability, and pattern recognition. This one is not specific to us in the room, but as humans, like we are pattern recognition machines. And guess what? All of those things we just talked about are also design skills. And every single person in this room has those skills. Empathy was the first one I mentioned. Empathy creates innovation. It creates understanding, which also creates opportunity. And pain points, which can help and inform products. A lot of people that create products is because they personally experienced a pain point and then realize, hey, lots of people around me are experiencing this exact pain point. What can I do to to fix that problem, right? So what does it mean to be a design-led company? It's actually a lot simpler than it sounds. Design-led companies don't leave growth to chance. Design eliminates randomness so that nothing in your grasp is accidental. Nothing exists just because that's how you're always supposed to do it or how it's always been done. That's a real good way to run a business in the ground, right? Every choice connects back to one thing, a human need, a real human need. So if design-led means building on purpose, with nothing accidental and every single thing connected to real human needs, the next question is, how do you do that? So that's what we're going to talk about. There are 3 fundamental pillars when it comes to designing anything. The first one is understanding users. So great companies understand their customers and their users. Assumptions are super expensive. Like if you walk out of here hearing nothing else today, making an assumption is really expensive. So most startups fail because they built their business based on guesses and assumptions. Talking to people is very cheap, and it is much cheaper than rebuilding. So talk to customers, right? Number 2, great companies remove unnecessary friction. So make saying yes easy. One of my absolute favorite sayings is make it easy for people to give you money. You can do that by reducing friction. Anytime you're introducing confusion, you are risking a loss in sales. If people hesitate, they leave. So remember, anything related to simplicity is what's going to help you convert on your website or anywhere in your sales process. And if you think about Amazon's Buy Now button, I don't like Amazon, but they make it very easy for you to give them money, right? Their subscriptions, you can just get your laundry detergent delivered every month. You don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to click the button, right? They know how to remove friction. And that is why they are, well, amongst other reasons, a terrible company. Think about the last time you visited a website and felt super confused. Maybe you couldn't understand what they sold, you couldn't find the prices, there was way too much text, there were too many options, whatever, maybe it didn't work on your phone. What did you do? Did you buy anything? Left, right? Yeah. Probably left, probably went to a different site or used a different service. And your customers are going to do the exact same thing. They're not going to email you and say, hey, how do I buy this? Your buy button is broken. They're going to go to Google, they're going to look for the same thing they were already looking for, and they're just going to buy it whoever takes their money the easiest. And that's really it. Like I said, they'll just disappear. Reducing friction also reduces revenue. And then the third pillar I wanted to talk about, great companies build trust through clarity. So like I said, us humans, we're very simple in a lot of ways. People trust what they understand, and a clear experience feels professional, even if the team is small. That's really it. Every successful business that I have worked with over the past several years, from 2-person startups to massive enterprises, do these 3 things consistently, and they do them well, just at different scales. So I want you to maybe take the next 5 seconds and think about which of these is the weakest in your business. Even if you're still in the planning stage, it still applies. Is it understanding users? Is it reducing friction? Is it building trust? Or it might be something else. Just give it some thought for a second. So up until this point, I've talked about why design matters and why it benefits your business. But now I want to get super, super practical. So let's talk about some tools. I do not want you to leave here coming out of this conference feeling super inspired, and then Monday rolls around and you're like, okay, now what? I want you to do something about this, okay? So everything I'm about to share is something that you can do without a big budget, without a big team, and without any special tools. So these are things that we use every single day with early stage founders, small businesses, large businesses, et cetera, no matter what industry you're in and no matter what the business needs are. And the best part is that you do not need to be a designer to use them, you do not need special permission, and you do not need to be further along, okay? You can do it today. All you need is curiosity and a little bit of consistency and persistence, and you can use all of these tools to drive your business. So let's start with the first one. This is my personal favorite, 30-minute research. Sounds easy. No, I'm kidding. It might sound a little scary, a little challenging. I don't even like public speaking. I'm a little anxious up here today, but I promise you, if I can get up here and talk, you can go sit down with somebody that is your prospective customer, right? So let's maybe imagine you run a coaching business. You email 3 recent or prospective customers in your target audience, and you say, can I ask you 3 questions? Can I take you to coffee? Can you get on a Zoom call? And when you sit with them, I want you to ask, why did you choose me? What almost stopped you? And what confused you? That's it. You can ask those, right? Easy enough. You can always ask more, but start with those. You don't have to give any thought to it. But everything that you're going to learn in that call is going to save you time rather than months and months of guessing. So let's try this together. I want you to think about your business. Could you finish this sentence? We help who struggle with some sort of pain point by the solution that you offer so that there's some sort of resolution. If you can't say this clearly, then your customers cannot buy it confidently. Again, if you can't say this clearly, they're not going to understand it either. So here's how you fill in the blanks. We help who? So for your specific target audience or niche, it might be busy parents, it might be small businesses, it might be remote tech teams. Those are the people I want you to go call and ask for coffee. Whoever you are trying to sell your business, product, service to, go talk with them. When you talk to them, you will understand their pain point, which is number 2 in this list. The core frustration, the core anxiety, problem that they're experiencing, et cetera, goes in the pain point, right? So they struggle to find healthy meals, they waste hours on bookkeeping, they struggle with team communication. You need to verify with them when you're talking with them that you are solving that exact pain point that they have. The solution, so that's your product. That is where you come into this. But again, you can't get to the product without understanding the pain point. So your unique product, service, method, whatever it is, if it's offering, rapid delivery healthy meal kits, or it's AI-powered invoicing software, or it is offering a chat platform, whatever it is, it's the solution that you're offering. And then the resolution, like what is the benefit to them for using it? Some of the most popular ways to not buy a product is like do it yourself. So that's always an option, right? But are you going to feed their family well? Are you going to focus on growing their business? Are you going to stay aligned with constant meetings? Like whatever that benefit that you're offering, you need to be able to clearly communicate with it. Saving time, saving money, etc. So I'm going to share with you a real world example. So for my company, Lunar Lab, like I said, we help companies of all sizes who struggle with clunky, confusing software by designing intuitive digital experiences that can help them ship products faster, reduce risk, and decrease development work. Doesn't have to be that lengthy. It can be straight to the point. Whatever your business is, like I said, you just need to be able to communicate it clearly. So you can definitely take a screenshot of that, try it out yourself. You might have a few iterations of it, especially if you're just now getting started. Remember when I talked about assumptions? This is a great place to start with assumptions. You might say, I think my business is going to do this, 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 and this. Then you go talk to people and they're like, ooh, that's not what they actually need. So we need to change it a little bit. And as you're growing your company, 3, 4, 5 years, you might pivot. You might need to update it. Forget who was talking about business plans earlier, but you might need to revisit your business plan and revisit everything in this kind of fill in the blank Mad Lib. But again, it helps you clarify exactly what it is you do. So number 3, a friction audit. Sounds kind of funky, but friction isn't always obvious, and sometimes it can be very expensive, and it can also be a little bit sneaky. So I'm going to share a story. We worked with a client one time whose tagline on their site was, book talent for your next event in seconds. Sounded great. So you could go to their website. It was beautifully designed, absolutely beautifully designed. You could browse band pages, you could listen to Spotify clips, you could see their pricing, you could even see the calendar when they're available. Seemed like it would be instantaneous, right? You pick the date, I've got a wedding, I need a string band, this date, oh great, they're in my budget, add to cart, check out. Okay, the problem, I went through this myself, testing out their website, and what actually was happening in the background is while it took me seconds to get to where I needed to be, it took me 7 different account creation screens, Oh no, it gets better. A meeting over the phone with a salesperson. A week-long manual process from an admin to approve me to get on the platform. Not done. And final confirmation from the artist, band, whoever I booked, that I would actually get that. So they came to us and said, hey, we're getting like really good traction on our website and tons of people are visiting, but like nobody's converting. I was like, you don't have a website design problem, you have a manual process problem. And one of the reasons that they were doing this was to keep other competitors out of using their software. And I was like, what? Okay, if somebody who had the exact company that I had wanted to give me money to provide the same service that they already have, I will do it. You can see every bit of our processes. I don't care. You're paying me money to do a job. If they want to book a band on your platform, take their money. So the whole reason I say that is that friction was intentional. They made decisions and business processes that prevented people from giving them money, which is crazy, right? So when you're doing this friction audit, I want you to ask yourself, is my product or business or website clear in 10 seconds? Can someone take action in just a couple of clicks? And is my pricing obvious? Ours is not. We do custom pricing, so depending on what it is you're trying to get us to design, we will tell you exactly what that's gonna cost. Not everything's like that. If I sold candles, you would be able to see a price, right? Have you guys car shopped before? You know the websites where they're like, email us for pricing? No. Like, I will not reach out to you about a car. I will just go find the car that has price on it. So same thing, do it on your website. Okay, let's talk about 3 founder mistakes. So before I wrap up, I want to share something from behind the scenes. After working with a lot of early stage founders, some patterns start to show up. And like I said, the same smart, capable people that run into the exact same problems that we've talked about today, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because no one warned them. So I want to save you some time and money and stress. Mistake number 1, building too much too soon. So remember, make sure you're focused on clarity before you're delivering too much, right? It's great that you get excited about an idea. It's great that you're ready to deliver and you want to, but what you don't want to do is start adding features just for the sake of adding features or adding business lines for the sake of adding them. Don't do that. Suddenly you've built this whole complicated product or service that you can't even manage, that solves 5 different problems and you can't even fit it into a sentence. Let's not do that. Mistake number 2, explaining everything instead of simplifying. We see this all the time. So founders will say, people just don't get it, I just need to explain it better or explain it more. And you end up with FAQ pages and a bunch of text on a page and videos and tutorials. Nobody wants to watch a video to understand what you do. No one, absolutely nobody. And if you can't say it in like 5 words, try it again. Mistake number 3, waiting too long to ask users. Remember the research, right? Go talk to people. This is, like I said, one of the most expensive mistakes that you can make. Founders say, I'm not ready, I'm not polished, let me just finish what I'm doing first. So they wait, they build the business in isolation for months, and then they launch, and then nothing happens and no one cares. And that sucks. Like, we do not want that. You cannot be your only paying customer. That's not a business, right? That is a hobby. I would love to pay myself to pet my cat all day. I have not found that as a business yet. Maybe one day, right? But like I said, it can be scary. You might sit down with someone, they say something that hurts your feelings or just takes the wind out of you and makes you doubt yourself. You would rather know that then in a 30-minute conversation than a year after you've been trying to build a company unsuccessfully. Like I said, it can suck, trust me. Sometimes people will say, that's a dumb idea, and that's fine. Maybe you just need to iterate on it. Okay, so let's connect the dots. Everything that we've talked about today, from talking to people, reducing friction, clarifying your message, building trust, works because it aligns your business with how people actually make decisions. People buy what they understand, they stick with what makes it feel easy, and they recommend it to their family because they feel very confident in it. It really is that simple. And then they invest in what feels intentional and obvious. So when you think about investors, they want to feel very confident in what it is you're trying to convince them for them to give you money on. So when you talk to your real users and remove unnecessary complexity and communicate clearly, you're making it easy for people to give you money. All right, so my really quick 3-step challenge for today: talk to one person, In your target audience, fix one friction point and clarify one message. That's it. Everybody in this room can do that. Remember, design is not a phase. It is like a practice that you have to put in place to get good at it, and you just have to be consistent. That's it. So, thank you. I will open it up for questions if you have any. Thank you for having me today. Also happy to connect if anybody wants to chat after this. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
Is there a particular stage where this framework is more useful and more, maybe there are more important things to focus on? So like first, say you just have a business idea and you're starting, and is that the time to identify what friction looks like and then move forward, or when you're starting to scale?
Oh my God, always.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, at what point in your business, and keep me honest, at what point in your business does this like framework work best? All of them, all of them. You'd be surprised the number of multi-billion, $1 companies where friction is like one of their biggest problems. Actually, just ran into it this week with one of our clients. They asked us to look at their website or their application and make it reduce the friction with the people who are their target audience. And I was like, okay, we can do this, 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 and this. And they said, I don't know if our team's gonna get our finance team's gonna have problems with that. I'm like, but it's costing you money. Happens all the time. So all that to say, literally at any size, I would think about it monthly. Is my messaging still correct and clear? Is that still my target audience? Because that might change, especially as you grow and scale. You might have different target customers, and you might need to tweak your positioning, your clarity, all of that. So I like to think about it monthly, quarterly. Just do that quick audit. Like, check your business plan, check that you're talking to the right people, that the messaging is resonating. Yeah, good question. Yeah.
Representing a large company here, I totally co-sign that as far as friction being a big problem in every size organization. We have a very intentional effort. I just led a project to redo our entire external web presence. We had multiple different websites for different purposes. It was all because the primary site was on old tech that wasn't inspiring, so it was creating all these offshoots, which then made it more difficult for folks to find what they were looking for. We were creating friction, not as intentionally as the partner that you were talking about earlier, but because of a lack of, this is how I can relate to all of you guys, lack of funding and a lack of direction on our foresight, right? So we had to solve that problem in order to bring all that together and create more streamlined. And we now measure our reduction of friction as a part of our success story to measure our success. And so
Yeah, love that.
I totally co-sign that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost worse the bigger the company gets because the more people get misaligned. That's a huge risk in it.
I work for Vulcan Materials. We have a verb that we say, don't Vulcan it up, right? So,
It's a good one.
Using friction.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, thank you.